It's time once again for the Weekly Pour, the show that knows everything about absolutely nothing. Here are your hosts, TBT and ACE.
What is going on? Welcome to episode 27 of the Weekly Pour. I am TBT. That guy is ACE. How is everyone tonight?
I'm good.
Okay, good. At least I got one person. Listen, we're going to kick this off with some breaking news. Hopefully the volume's working and everybody can hear us, but some breaking news that just came across the wire. I've always wanted to say that, across the wire. So breaking news, it is official. According to Variety magazine, Motley Crue guitarist Mick Mars will no longer tour with Motley Crue, although he will continue on as a member. A statement from Mick Mars' representative reads that co-founder and lead guitarist Mick Mars of the heavy metal band Motley Crue for the past 41 years has announced today that due to his ongoing painful struggle with AS, see, I wasn't even going to try to explain that word, he will no longer be able to tour with the band. Mick will continue as a member of the band, but can no longer handle the rigors of the road. AS is an extremely painful and crippling degenerative disease which affects the spine. And considering Mick Mars is 71 years old, this is something that he's been dealing with for probably 71 years, and it's just continuously gotten worse. So that's some interesting news for tonight to kick off.
That's crazy to think about it, but what we don't think about is what you said a minute ago. He's 71. People that are 71 normally are long retired, and they don't do what he does with a medical condition like he has. He's standing on stage for an hour and a half a night every night this summer.
Right.
And playing killer guitar with a condition that he can't hardly even walk with.
Yeah, 71 years old, where, like you just said, most people are already retired. But at 71, those that are already retired are sitting at home. They
Right.
might get up and go let their dogs out.
Right. If you're a mildly active 71-year-old man, that means you're out in the yard picking up your sticks and cleaning your yard up and, things like that. You're not on stage and you're not touring.
Especially during a tour that just ended recently, all across the entire country, and you're basically playing every other night. Maybe a 3-day break in between once in a while, depending on the city. But I mean, you're going hard at it. So kudos to Mick for putting up with it and doing it as long as he did. But my gosh, I feel bad for the guy, and I do think it's interesting that it's stated in the article that he will still remain a member of the band. So basically, the boy's getting paid.
Right. That means he does have some say still, depending if he's getting paid. He's getting residual checks.
Oh, sure.
This is happening more and more, where people are not in bands but still members. Well, I think Steve Perry, up until not that long ago, maybe he still is, but he's still a member of Journey legally. Right. I think, and that's what part of this lawsuit with Journey is all about, is over trademarks and copyrights and things like that, and that's why Steve Perry's involved. Is he's still a member?
Yeah, it's kind of like the I don't know who it is, but there's a I think a baseball player, baseball, basketball, football, one of the three majors, where he's getting paid for like the next 15 years. And
you're talking about my favorite day of the year besides Christmas. You're talking about Bobby Bonilla Day.
It is Bobby Bonilla. Okay, for whatever reason, I kept thinking somebody else, but yeah, Bobby Bonilla, perfect example. Sort of. I mean, but it's a total different story. But I mean, he gets paid what, 20 million every year?
No, it's like $1.5 million every year until 2035.
Okay, so I was close. It was just I was off by a little math.
And he's not played since I think it was like 2009 or 2010. I looked it up recently. Think about that.
Oh, I know.
In the circumstances that caused that. I mean, they only owed him the amount they owed Bobby Bonilla, the Mets, was minuscule, but they were so, in baseball terms, minuscule. But they were so strapped for cash, they wanted to backload it and pay him on the back end. Who wouldn't take that deal?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't
So
take that?
I mean, we've just segued from Motley Crue into Bobby Bonilla, but let me
Yeah,
explain this real quick.
go back.
These payments that we're talking about, Bobby Bonilla Day, where he gets paid a significant amount of money every year, stems from a deferred contract agreement that he had with the New York Mets that basically keeps him paid for the next bazillion years. Since 2011, the Mets have paid Bobby Bonilla an annual $1.1 million deferred salary payment on July 1st of every year and will continue to do so through 2035. The payments stem from Bonilla's $5 million salary in the year 2000.
There's $5 million.
Yeah,
They couldn't just pay him $5 million.
no. The Mets released him that January, and because ownership believed they would make a significant profit through their investment with Bernie Madoff, there we go. They agreed to defer Bonilla's salary with 8% interest and spread it across 25 years from 2011 to 2035. The 5 million swelled to 29.8 million. So yeah, hashtag do not let the Mets do your math.
Whoever was
Unless they're going to pay you.
whoever the agent for Bobby Bonilla was at that time needs to be like commended.
I think it was I don't know who it was. Let me jump in the chat real quick. Let me look and see who's here right now. We got Natalie, of course, our weekly moderator. Glad she could make it on time. Shannon's jumping in. Oh, and there's our little buddy Kathy. So she goes, I just got home and caught the tail end of whatever you were talking about, Mick. What did I miss? What did I miss? It looks like everybody is filling her in the chat. Joyce is also in the chat. Of course, Ace mentions Bobby. He talks about it all the time. Well. This is someone in your clubhouse.
Yeah. I talk about it because it's so absurd.
It is.
That's why I love it. It makes me happy on July 1st to wake up knowing that Bobby Bonilla is making $1.1 million for doing nothing.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
I can't make like $5 for doing nothing.
Now, don't get me started on Giancarlo Stanton of the Yankees, who I think is.
Now you're just losing everybody because nobody knows who that is.
Well, let me tell you, he's an outfielder for the Yankees who gets
Still?
paid. Yeah, he sucks.
Okay.
He batted like 211 this year. He gets paid, I think, $325 million. And my slogan for the postseason with the Yankees has been Bobby Bonilla does more for the Yankees and baseball than Giancarlo Stanton by not playing and making $1.1 million.
All this aggression, I'm feeling that you're a Yankees fan.
I'm a huge Yankees fan.
Oh, okay. So you give me crap last week about being a Swiftie, and now you're what do you call Yankees fans? Oh yeah, out of the playoffs.
That's brutal.
Oh, sorry.
Brutal.
Go Phillies.
Well, I'm on that bandwagon now.
Yeah, I've been on that bandwagon just because of Schwarber.
Yeah, I always liked him, and I don't understand the Cubs team getting broke up, but whatever.
I don't understand how he keeps getting traded. This is like his third team.
Like his third or fourth team.
Yeah, I don't understand.
He's really good.
Or maybe he's toxic in the locker room.
No, he looks like a dude you'd like to hang out with and have a beer.
No, I know. Okay, I'm just going to point out we're 11 minutes into this. And for those that have missed it, we've covered Motley Crue and Mick Mars. We have covered a little bit of Taylor Swift, the New York Yankees, Bobby Bonilla, Hump Guard Fumpty Dump, the outfielder, whatever his name was, and Kathy and was late. And let me see. Nope. I was going to say we've yet to have a mention of a turtle, but that was Natalie's first statement where she says, "Welcome to everyone. Hang tight. We're cleaning turtles and listening to T Swift." Okay. So that's a lot of stuff
I
that
was
we've
right.
covered in 12 minutes. What'd you do?
His contract with the Marlins was $325 million. I
Ladies and
guarantee
gentlemen, we're still talking about the Yankees.
it makes me mad
It
because it's
makes you
terrible.
angry.
All right, let's rewind.
I'm not rewinding to the Yankees.
Mick Mars.
Yes.
So he's retiring. Did you see the news just a few hours ago that was released? Loudwire reports about Ivan Moody, Five Finger Death Punch singer.
Oh
That we
yeah,
talked
him and
about
his
last week.
retirement. Yeah, I haven't seen anything because there's another retiring musician.
Well, he's retracted his retirement.
Pardon me?
He retracted his retirement. He said, "Hey, I was misspoken. I was impulsive."
Time out. He spoke it.
Well, I think he misspoke and was impulsive.
So is it an impulsive misspokenness?
I think he had a bad misspoken night in Denver.
Wow.
I
Mile
mean,
high.
right.
The
He says,
oxygen.
as I quote from the Loudwire article, he says, "I can't quit. I can't. I'm not. To be quite honest with you, I think I would die. My soul would fucking fade."
Whoa.
So strong words about.
Language.
Sorry,
This
it's a
is a
quote.
PG show.
It's a quote.
Oh, okay. Then it's all right. So Ivan Moody is now not going to retire.
No, he is not retiring.
Son of a bitch.
And we made all kinds of speculation about the grind of the road and how hard it is to be away from family last
We
week.
really made it seem like it made sense.
Did.
Like we felt for him.
Right, we get it. And
I retract my feelings.
He blew it out of the water for us.
Yeah. I don't care about him anymore. I retract my feelings.
Well, we did also wonder why he's making this announcement that in 2 years and another record or something like that. That's a weird statement anyway.
Yeah. And we were coming up with all kinds of crazy things. Maybe it was the end of the contract. Maybe that was, when they've got to re-sign with another label or something like that. I mean, we had it planned out for him. We even had him a job, but does that matter? Apparently not.
Apparently not. Let's see where we stand.
Holy crap.
So I don't think that Mick will be retracting his retirement statement. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
He will be still working on the long-awaited solo record that he's got going.
Right.
Now?
7 years now I've been waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Now, here's something to put in perspective about Mick Mars. You think about the members of Motley Crue: Mick Mars, Tommy Lee, Nikki Sixx, and Vince Neil. Vince Neil was gone from the crew for a while. John Corabi replaced him. He took his little leave of absence. Tommy Lee, for 10 minutes, he was out of Motley Crue.
Right.
And did all of his hip hop, wiki stuff.
Metal wiki.
Wiki. Yeah. Nikki Sixx, never gone.
No.
Motley Crue's his baby.
Right.
Never left. Mick Mars, I don't think he's ever left.
I don't think he's ever been out either. I don't think.
Not for a tour, not for an album. I don't think he's ever been gone for anything. That's what is that? What would we say? 50 years that they've been rolling?
Well, what, 81 was the first record?
81, yeah. So think about that. I mean, that's just, to me, it's a band. Bands come and go. They retire, they unretire. They do 17 retirement tours. Kiss. And, but yet they never go away. And look at Motley Crue. They did the same thing. Retirement tour, weren't coming back, signed a contract, and then they came back because they needed more money. But 40 plus years of touring and the grind and all of that, and two original members of the four never went anywhere, and Mick Mars being one of them. He has earned it, and somebody in the chat said the same thing, that he earned it.
Yeah, not just that. not just the fact that he earned it or the fact that he stayed that long. He stayed that long with this condition.
Right.
This condition that kept getting worse and worse and worse. Everyone else had the typical drug addiction or
Alcohol, whatever.
alcohol or tired of the band or whatever. But Mick, he had a condition where his spine was fused in cement and he couldn't move.
Yeah.
And never left.
Yeah. And he's not leaving yet. I mean, he's still there. He's still a member of the band. He's just not touring.
Did you speculate or even talk about the replacement guitar player?
No, I didn't. That rumor's been going on for probably about a month, if not a little bit more right now. Completely denied by both camps, the Rob Zombie camp and, of course, the Motley Crue. But John 5, honestly, I can't think of somebody else who would be any better to fill those shoes.
That's a really good fit.
Yeah. That's almost as good as Spider replacing Lexi Fox in Steel Panther.
For a minute, I thought you were going to talk Spider-Man or Spider, Pat Benatar's husband.
No. Steel Panther. Duh.
Oh, okay.
Sheesh. But yeah, perfect fit, I think.
Yeah, so they're picking up their tour again in South America, correct?
Yes, first show's in Mexico at some point.
Yeah. So plenty of time for John 5 to get up to speed on Motley Crue.
Oh, I guarantee he's already got it. Guaranteed.
Sure.
So yeah, that's big news. And truthfully, when I was looking at other news around the world of rock, I stopped right there and didn't get any further because, for the 80s band fans that we are, to me that was huge. What did we listen to today? Anita Strauss doing a collaboration.
Yeah, with Alyssa White. Is it Glues or Gluz? How do you pronounce that last name?
Yes.
Alyssa White Gluz? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Of Arch Enemy. So she's relatively new to Arch Enemy. And if you don't know Arch Enemy, they are a very heavy band that their singers typically do as Leather Leone says, Cookie Monster style singing.
Right.
So Alyssa is a female. I'd never heard a female singing that way ever till now. But she has collaborated with Nita Strauss on a new single called The Wolf You Feed. And it is really good. Really good. Even with the Cookie Monster style vocals, she breaks into that clean vocal too later in the song. And it's really good. I like it.
Yeah, if you listen to it, I highly recommend that you go back and listen to it again, but watch the video. I'm still stuck. I'm just mesmerized by watching Nita play, even though it's a video and all that. But just you watch the way she performs in that video, and my gosh, I think it's pretty good. As I would normally say, it's pretty badass.
Well, she said the same thing, Nita. It's pretty badass.
That I was pretty badass. I know.
I didn't watch the video yet. I was going to before the show. But I was busy looking up stuff and eating my wife's lasagna. That's amazing.
Glad you said lasagna.
Well, yeah, that's what I eat. Her lasagna.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Clean
really good, especially when it's hot.
What?
You warm it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheesy?
Right.
No.
It's lasagna. I mean.
Oh, yeah. It's Italian.
Right.
That's a mighty fine meatball.
She's Irish, but.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
It's your turn.
Oh, I got a break. All right, so I was gonna wait on this, but I just can't because we need to talk about it. The Final Battle from Stryper.
Oh yeah.
Released. I have listened to it 10 or 12 times. I cannot find a song on this album that I want to skip. You know, like you do on most things, you're listening to tracks and you hear it and you're like, this one's okay, and you skip it to get to the next one. I can't do it on this one. The 11, where the heck did you go?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Where'd you go?
Oh, I got a phone call from my daughter.
Does your daughter not know what's going on?
They don't pay attention to what I'm doing.
They're grounded.
They don't know what I do.
Oh my
They don't care.
gosh.
And now I'm in permanent slow motion too.
You are, and you're like a Chinese movie where your mouth moves, but I don't hear nothing coming out of it, and then the words.
I'm talking right now.
This is the coolest thing ever. I love technology. Wait for your internet dial-up to catch up to you. I'm going to continue on this.
Okay.
The final battle, Stryper's 13th studio album, I believe. 11 tracks. Starts off with a song called Transgressor. And as soon as that song comes in, you are getting your proverbial Christian ass kicked. It is. Follow that up by some of the ones that have already been released, like See No Evil, Hear No Evil, Rise to the Call. Transgressor was one of the ones that were released. This album, golly, man, there's so many people, so many bands, so many artists that will put out an album that kicks ass. And I'm going to use Poison as an example because for me, it works. Poison puts out Look What the Cat Dragged In, followed up by Open Up and Say Aw, followed by Native Tongue.
No.
No,
Flesh and Blood.
I'm sorry, Flesh and Blood, followed by Native Tongue. Yes, there was a change in guitarist, so there's one person that's changed, in the band. But as they progressed and they put albums out, and you got to Crack a Smile, which ended up having, I think Crack a Smile was when they got CC back. The music was not the same. Well, I take that back. The music was the same, and it just didn't work for the time.
Well, it wasn't as good either.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This Stryper album puts that to shame. The last few Stryper albums have progressively gotten better and better. They've had some semi hits, if you will. Nothing that's going to be on the radio, of course, because nobody plays that kind of music anymore unless you're listening to satellite, maybe like Octane or something like that. Shout out to Octane. This Stryper album it's unbelievable. There's a song on there called No Rest for the Wicked. Okay, all you Aussie fans, get off your bandwagon. That song kicks ass. Transgressor, like I said, kicks the album off into high gear. Ashes to Ashes, which is the last track on this record, takes you right back to Transgressor, and you end this album almost the same way you started it, which is just, it's heavy.
Right.
It's not the In God We Trust, To Hell with the Devil, somewhat heavy, real good rock with with all that. This is heavy. Michael Sweet's lyrics are the same as they always are. They're tight. They're put together. His shrills, his screams, everything about it is vintage Stryper. And if you're a fan of them, great. If you're not a fan of them, give them a chance, because they continuously to put stuff out that gets better and better every time.
What did you notice about this record?
One of the biggest things that I noticed about this record, if we're talking about the same thing, which I did verify, he was not on the last one. Perry Richardson, who was the bass player for Firehouse, is on the final battle, and he is there from beginning to end. You can hear the bass just bumping.
The review I'm reading,
oh my
uh,
gosh.
I pulled up a couple reviews, and both positive, but this one talks about Perry exclusively in this paragraph about how he crushes on the new record, and his bass is prominent and he meshed perfectly within the music. Especially, you didn't mention this song, especially paramount on the slower, ballady song called "Near."
Yeah, yeah.
So I will have to listen to all of this.
It's good. It's not your typical ballad that you would expect from Stryper, like honestly or something like where it's, all just piano and tiny, little bit of lyrics and all that stuff. It's good. It's still got a great beat to it. It's one of those that you're gonna be singing to your girlfriend as you're driving down the road on the beach, or something like that. But
Was the
yeah.
toque getting hot?
What?
Was the toque getting hot?
The toque. It's a
Was it?
freaking. You know what? Sons of bitches. Everybody messing with. There. No. My damn toque. Stop interrupting me when I'm talking about Stryper. Get the album. Totally worth it. Gosh, I mean, I could go on and on for the next, half hour about it because there's just so much good about it. Compare it to their previous album, which I don't remember what the name of it is. Um, compare it to the last three.
Goddamn evil.
That was a great album. But compare the last three or four and just listen to how progressively harder they get, how much more they're meshed. Oh, and here's an interesting fact. With the final battle, Oz Fox was dealing with some brain tumor issues.
Oh, really?
Michael Sweet was dealing with some eye issues. There's an interview I read, he talks about how he was wearing an eye patch while playing the guitar for this album. And he said, as difficult as it was, it made it even more, more meaningful, if you will. But you can hear they're not putting this stuff out to sell out. They're not changing anything. They are still standing by their message that they've had, since 1984. They're sticking by the same thing. They're not changing. I think the world is changing around them and they're just pumping out some shit. I mean, it is freaking awesome. And that's aside from the fact that I've been a fan since, the Yellow and Black Attack and all that, when I thought that they were the killer bees from the WWF at the time. Um, they're kicking ass. And I tell you what, any band that would get them to go out on tour, Motley Crue and Def Leppard, they may not need them, but you add Stryper to that bill. But I tell you what, it'd be very hard to not put Stryper as the closing act.
Because they're playing that well.
And they have that good of a catalog. But yes, they are playing that well. They've lowered their they've lowered 2 degrees, two bars down, I guess, for Michael's voice.
Right.
But that's it. Oz hasn't stopped. Perry Richardson is just he's amazing in his own. And Robert is still, keeping time.
You mentioned the selling out part, being able to put out good music that you want to put out. A lot of these bands that are older, they're not necessarily under record contracts with big companies, so the pressure's off.
Right.
They can do whatever they want. They're putting it out on a label, maybe their own label, with lower costs and their own management, and they're doing everything themselves because technology allows it. They can do whatever they want. So if they want to put out a heavy record, who's to stop them?
Yep. Exactly. And here's a look at the cover.
That's really cool.
it's pretty badass. I mean, yeah. It's awesome. They have stuck to the typical yellow and black that they stepped away from for one album. And they regret that. Michael Sweet still regrets that. But I mean, that's just awesome. That is just a badass album. Yeah. So
Good.
I'll get off of my soapbox about that, but I highly recommend, even if you don't buy it, just go download it or something. You know, you can't get it off of Napster or anything, but borrow it. Do whatever you need to. Right now, I need to pay a commercial. I mean, pay some bills.
All right, you going to pay some bills?
Yeah, I got to pay some bills. So this is what we call a commercial, even though you can still hear us. That's the whole point. Here's the commercial.
This is Kathy from Music and More Records in New Hartford, New York, providing you with all of your music needs. You are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast with TBT and ACE. Rock on, guys.
Welcome back. That was our commercial.
Well done.
Well done, and our bills are paid.
I was sweating that one.
Okay, Kathy just yelled at me for saying download. I'm sorry. If you have a music store actively, yeah. I get it. You go to your music store and buy it or borrow it. Don't download it. I'm sorry. I don't have a local music store, and I'm not going to New York anytime soon. But if you want a copy, Kathy's got it in stock. Go visit her on Facebook and or the Instagrams, Music and More Records, and she can hook you up. And hopefully you have a record player.
Well, or you just buy them like I do. I don't have a record player, but I have all sorts of records.
Oh,
tons of them.
Yeah. Oh, so here's something. I don't have a tape player, but I got these from Kathy.
Yeah, just recently.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, it's your turn because you know at some point over the next 30 minutes I'm turning to T-Swizzle.
Well, I do have one thing to say.
No. You go. I have to step away for a second.
Oh.
So you do your thing. I mean,
Okay.
Don't worry. It'll be like 30 seconds.
All right,
I'll still be able to hear you, and if I have to say something, I'll yell.
Well,
and no chat. I don't have to pee. I'll be right back. I got to get something.
Like.
Well, okay. If I'm going to be frank about this, I watched you just a second ago, and you really made me thirsty. So I'm going right around the corner here, right around the corner on the other side here into the closet where my fridge is at, and I'm going to grab myself a refreshing adult beverage. I'll be right back.
You do that, and I'm going to talk about other new music that, if you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you.
Well, Nickelback has put out a couple
and
of...
we're back. Thanks for that.
My God,
I'm
that
sorry.
was quick.
I'm not back.
They put out a couple of new videos. I don't know what you follow Nickelback. I've liked Nickelback, but lately I don't feel like they're holding up to what they're usually their usual standard. And these two new ones, it's kind of mixed. But we have one called Those Days, and San Quentin being the other one. San Quentin being a bit of a rocker. I like it. All right. The other one feels like a rip-off of Photograph. It's a bit nostalgic. The video's full of nostalgic elements, things from, frankly, the 80s. We're showing record stores, and we're showing concert T-shirts. And my God, you're gone a long time. I'm going to have to talk about Bobby Bonilla in a minute, or Giancarlo Stanton. But regardless, I don't know that I like that song in particular. I'm not sure what this record is going to be like.
Hey, you see this? Hey.
Yeah?
Look at this photograph.
Yeah, it makes me laugh, man.
That's all I did. That was a dad joke, by the way.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that.
Uh-oh.
Since I talked about Nickelback for a second, you can decide whatever you want to decide about Nickelback and the new record.
I haven't listened to any of it, so I need to.
But it's come to my attention that someone has talked to you about how maybe I don't participate enough in your
What
humor.
word? What word?
Participate.
Okay.
Perhaps I don't laugh enough at your jokes. I don't know why someone would say that. I feel like I'm pretty jocular.
What?
Another word.
Big words.
I think I laugh plenty. But I feel like I'm going to have to start like falling on the floor, holding my gut as I laugh at your jokes.
Here's the thing.
I don't get it.
I don't know when I'm going to joke to like say, hey, I'm getting ready to joke.
It's live TV. It's live TV.
Yeah. It's not like we have a sign flashing that says,
that would help.
I'm going to get one.
And it's not that you're not funny.
I didn't say anything.
I mean, sometimes I have to just go on to the next thing. I can't sit here and laugh for 10 minutes.
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Well, you know who I'm talking about. And when that person contacts you again.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure they know
that you're laughing.
I'm laughing.
You laugh on the inside.
I hold it in.
Exactly. Kathy said she's getting ready to go because she's got to go get ready for her live. So thank you, Kathy. We will catch you again next week, and I'm pretty sure it will be not on Wednesday.
Right. This time.
Am I going to get in trouble with YouTube for drinking a root beer?
No.
Okay. So, speaking of last week, we had a little snippet made of what you missed last week, and it was, me coming out being a Swiftie and all that. I took that video. Right. I took that 31 seconds, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put that on my TikTok. Because, man, we blew it up on Instagram. We put it on Facebook. We put it on here on YouTube. I mean, we put it everywhere. And I was like, you know what? The only place that's missing it is TikTok. So I uploaded it to TikTok. And everything that you upload is like, if you're going to put it out like on your story, it's going to be reviewed, right?
Okay.
It was denied.
What?
It was denied.
By Twitter? Are you kidding?
No, by TikTok.
By TikTok.
For promoting alcohol.
How? What?
The weekly pour.
Seriously?
Yeah. No, here's my thing.
That's ridiculous.
If I called it the weekly nipple, it'd have been fine.
That would be okay?
It'd be okay. The weekly barely dressed female with 34 Ds, it'd have been fine. But because it was the weekly pour and there's a freaking picture, on our logo of a glass of tea.
It could be anything.
It was denied for promoting alcohol because kids can watch that video. Well, they don't know what I'm pouring. What if that was a glass of honey that we got from our honeydew melons that are out in the forest?
I don't think we're the reason anyone would be drinking unless... Well...
I would hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I've drove my wife to drink a few times, but
it made me mad. Like if I wanted to, I don't even know how I would cut that out. Like our logo is on it. I can cut the logo out and then repost it and see if it gets through. But are they going to say nope because it says the word pour, P-O-U-R? Nope. That's about alcohol. Well, what if it's a pour of knowledge from our brains of knowing things? I don't even know what that meant, but you know what I mean.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm going to try it again tonight. And then I'm going to do it again tonight. And I'm going to see if I violate some kind of guidelines again. And I put it on my personal TikTok. It's not like we have one for the show because we don't have enough time for that. I put it on my own, and I'm going to try it again. I'll try it again tonight. Shannon said that's ridiculous. I agree. Joyce says that she's an expert on YouTube and I won't get in trouble for that. Good, because this is very good root beer.
Mine's
There's a lot.
Canadian.
I saw that. It made me want to watch a hockey game, actually. There's a lot worse stuff on TikTok than drinking. A lot worse. That's my point. Exactly.
Right.
TikTok is full of toxicity. It is. Natalie points out you are literally a part of bourbon TikTok. Exactly. And we have our own hashtag.
What?
Yeah, we have a bourbon TikTok family.
But can you say bourbon? And that's okay?
Bro, go look at my TikTok. My entire feed or everything that I post, 98% of what I post is bourbon.
But
My account's not restricted. Anybody can join. It's all bourbon, so it makes 0 sense.
So we can call it the weekly bourbon? Because that's more specific to me.
Yeah. The weekly root beer.
The weekly pour, I mean, I'm pouring out words right now out of my mouth.
Right. I'm pouring out knowledge.
Something.
Words. I'm pouring out facial hair. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I thought about that and it kind of pissed me off. You know what else pisses me off?
What's that?
Fast food.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
We all love fast food.
What?
We all love fast food.
On occasion.
When it's done right.
Right. Like my way, right away.
Right.
Away.
But there are those times.
That they're not. Yeah. I had one of those times. So anybody that follows us on Instagram, I think it was on Facebook too. I don't know. I can't keep track. So the wife calls me the other day and says, "Hey, I'm going to go get lunch. Do you want me to grab you something?" Keep in mind, we work in the same town. And I said, "Sure. Where are you going?" She decides that she wants to go to, McDonald's. And I'm like, cool. I like my burger the way I like it. So this is what I'm going to do. I want a double cheeseburger with pickle and mayo. That's it.
Right.
Nothing more. Pickle and mayo. That's it. Cool. So she gets the bag. It's got, the fries in it, of course, and all that. Gets my drink, brings it to me. I grab it. I take it back to my office because I'm going to eat at my desk. And first thing I do is I eat the fries because that's what I do is I eat my fries first. And I look at the receipt and it says double cheeseburger. No, it doesn't even say that. It says a double McDouble or some crazy shit. I don't know what they call it. With mayo and pickle only. I'm like, all right, cool. They got the burger wrong.
I think it's a quarter pounder, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. Which, okay, whatever. That's fine. It's still going to be pickle and mayo. I opened this thing up. And the first thing I did was said, nope. Go look at the picture on Instagram. I'm not going to put it up here. It had mustard. It had ketchup. It had pickles. I don't even know if there was any mayo. And it had about 1,000 freaking slivers of onion. Does that. If you like onion on your burger or your hot dogs or whatever, that's great. If you like a million little things, we're not talking the cheeseburger like onions. We're talking the slivers. Isn't that what Sarah called them?
That's what Sarah called them, slivers.
The slivers of onions. And it looked gross. Go look at the picture. Okay, the only thing I did was take the lid off. That's it.
It looked like it was run over by a car.
I think it was.
It looked like someone put it on the floor and stomped on it.
Yeah,
because they were
nasty.
pissed at your order.
Yeah, it was horrible. Completely nasty. And I couldn't even take all the crap off of it. I ate my fries and I called it good. Took a picture of it, sent it to the wife and said, somebody got my burger. And she said, well, my Happy Meal was fine, but I didn't get a toy. And I'm like, but if it's the bucket for Halloween, the bucket is the toy. I think. I don't know.
That's just a ripoff.
I agree.
I have one for you.
Okay, hang on. Let me check.
You check.
Okay, Natalie, for your last comment, you were banned for like 2 minutes. Okay, you could go along now.
Okay. So, for a while, well, a long time ago, Hardee's had a great mushroom and Swiss burger. I loved it. I ate it a couple times a week when we were working. As anyone that knows me knows how much I hate ketchup. It is the devil's sauce. It should be banned from
It's red.
Earth. It's the worst condiment on the planet. I hate it. So when you order a mushroom Swiss, you assume you're safe from ketchup. It's mushrooms, Swiss, and a sauce that they create with the mushrooms, and it's fantastic.
Like an au jus kind of thing.
Kind of like that. Yeah.
Sure.
So one day we ordered from Hardee's, and I went to go pick up the food for me and everyone else that I work with. I pick it up. I come back. I sit down with my mushroom and Swiss hamburger, and something doesn't look quite right. And I have a habit of checking things because, in spite of me hating ketchup, fast food places love ketchup. They love lots of ketchup. So I open up the lid of my mushroom and Swiss. There is nothing on it but ketchup. Not one thing. Not cheese, not a mushroom, not a Swiss. Nothing but ketchup.
You got a ketchup sandwich?
I did. And a burger.
Huh.
How in the world did you mistake in my mushroom and Swiss? Everyone else was right.
Did the label have mushroom and Swiss on it?
It did.
Oh my gosh.
It did. It stated clearly mushroom and Swiss.
It's like when you order pizza and you get a plate of spaghetti.
Right. Now, I hate ketchup, but I'm not so bad.
I've gathered.
Yeah, but if I'm at McDonald's and I order a cheeseburger with no ketchup and they kind of put ketchup on it, I've been known to be a trooper and go ahead and eat it, because when you work in fast food, you're taught a certain way to make food, and you're doing it very quickly and trying to be efficient. So sometimes you just make it the way you know how to make it, right?
Sure.
I can live with a little bit of ketchup in my regular burger. Nope, this one I marched right back to Hardee's. I marched right back to them. I couldn't do it.
So you would have a hard time if I just got my cheeseburger and just put mayo on it.
I hate mayo.
I knew it.
I hate it.
Why? What has it done to you?
It's being terrible.
Like, did you have it on something and it just you couldn't do it?
Yeah, when I was a child,
my
mother put it on everything. I just couldn't handle it anymore. When I became an adult and made my own food, I banned 2 items: ketchup and mayo.
Those are 2 of the things that are must-haves in my house.
Yeah,
but see, there's a good grief, I'm dying. There's a big thing though. I can't have generic ketchup.
right.
It must be Heinz.
It must be.
The other side of that is I cannot do generic mayonnaise.
Okay.
It must be Hellmann's. So to me, Kraft, generic. Great Value, obviously generic, but it has to be Hellmann's.
And the thing is, when they make that stuff, it's supposed to be like a clone, right?
Right.
So it's funny, it's the same thing, but no, it's not. Not every time. Sometimes it is, but not every time.
Right. Like you said, mistakes happen, and I get that. However, when everything's screwed up on it, that's not a mistake. I think that's lazy. And I wish there was somebody in the chat that worked fast food who wanted to fight me over this, but I don't think
Well,
there is.
and the excuse used to be, uh, well, they don't get paid a lot. It's a hard job, etc. You can't say they don't get paid a competitive wage now. You can't say
Right.
that. They make almost what I make, and I've been on my job 22 years.
Is it
And
almost? I mean, it's
almost
just
what I make.
attention to detail, I think. But you get busy, especially at lunchtime. You're trying to get your orders out so that you can keep the line going. I know that.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
if the receipt, the sticker that goes on the flipping box says no pickle or just pickle and mayo, there better not be nothing else in there. They're lucky I didn't drive those freaking onions down there. But I'd still be stinking of the Natalie, you're in timeout again. She just said Duke's mayo. She's gross.
Yeah, but you know whose fault this really is? Your wife's.
Mine?
Yeah.
How?
She made you go to McDonald's on the day that they screwed up.
Yeah, you have a point. You have a
Those
very valid point.
fake crossed the lines and all that in
So
the movie.
so maybe I shouldn't be blaming McDonald's.
No.
I should be blaming the wife for bringing up the fact that we're going to McDonald's.
Correct.
Because if she would have went to Wendy's, no problem.
Wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened. But because
No.
it was McDonald's, yeah, you might be right. Duke's mayo. That just sounds gross. It sounds like
pretentious.
John Wayne jizz. That's what I'd call it. I don't even know if I can say that.
I want it to be noted that I was laughing.
Yeah. Well, I just got a text from said person, and I said, you just got called out on the podcast, and the said person said, excuse me? So that's what said person gets. Because I don't care about what she was doing. It's what we're doing now.
Right.
All right. I can't put this off any longer.
Now what? Ah.
So, a friend of mine that we both know, we hunt. A lot of people. If you're into bourbon, part of being into bourbon is hunting. You have to hunt for certain bourbons because sometimes bourbon is
Oh,
hard to find.
I thought you were deer hunting.
Mm,
I mean, you're
so
dressed for it.
close, so close. I am. I had my axe, and you know what? I'm gonna break this down a little bit.
Watch
There.
out, everyone.
Watch out. So, bourbon hunting is an art. So I got to move this over. Bourbon hunting is an art. And a buddy of mine was actually able to find a bottle that has been hard to come by. And of course, because we're buddies and pals, he hooked me up with the sample the other day. So let me rinse the root beer out of my mouth.
The palate.
Exactly. Let me throw up my certified bourbon steward pen.
Yes.
I haven't done that in a while.
Cannot forget.
Yeah. Duke's is supreme. Yeah. Okay. The only thing I think of when I think of Duke, other than John Wayne, is the dog that does like baked beans. Those are great, great beans, Duke, or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, this is. Ooh, this smells good. This is Russell's 13.
Okay.
That's not going to mean a lot to a lot of people, but Russell's. I think I'm actually out. Russell's has a few different things. I won't get into too much, but they've got a bunch of different things that are good. Russell's 13 is a very hard one to find. 13 meaning that it's 13 years old, not that it was made by Taylor Swift or that it had 13 ghosts, but this is a lead in to my story of T-Swizzle because we're drinking Russell's 13. So, that smells good.
And
I am saving the rest of that. That's good. That is very good. Woo! I'm in love. I
So
bet that.
that's hard to find.
I bet
Why
that
is that
wife
hard to
won't take
find?
me to McDonald's. Um. Uh. To put it simply, they just don't release a lot of it.
Oh, really? Okay. So they
Yeah.
make it.
hmm Yeah. So when you have bourbons that they don't make a lot of, I mean, it's like anything else; they're just hard to find. And then when you find it, a lot of times you're going to be paying secondary prices or tertiary prices. So, like, I could get this root beer for 99 cents, but because it's hard to find, you find it and you want to sell it to me, you could charge me $5 for it.
Right.
Totally illegal, to resell alcohol like that or root beer. But yeah, that's where you get into some issues, which is why you have friends that do what we call handshakes and they share what they're able to find. And that's part of the community of bourbon drinkers is that you share what you have. You may have 100 bottles, but if somebody's like, man, I've never had that. Okay, well, guess what? Here, I'll pour you a sample and you can have it. Um, there's a bunch of people that are into Blanton's.
Right.
Whatever. Not one of my favorites. Whatever. But if there's somebody that says I've never tried it, I will gladly give them a sample because it's what we do. It's part of the bourbon community is you share your shit. And if you're not
Well,
sharing your shit, piss off.
how can you, uh, tell people what you like and let them experience it if you don't share it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Sorry.
uh,
That was one sip. Okay. I'm jumping into this because I know there is somebody out there who will want me to give my take. Like we discussed last week,
right.
T-Swizzle released her new album, Midnights. It was released on midnight on,
Clever.
yeah, very clever, very clever, very clever. There are 13 tracks to this. It is Taylor Swift's 10th studio album, released on October 21st, so just a few days ago. And it marks the first body of new work since her 2020 albums Folklore and Evermore. As previously discussed, she's been re-recording all of her stuff from back in the day because of her basically her masters. She doesn't own her master stuff, so she's
Right.
redoing all of her
Right.
things.
That's how you get ownership is re-recording it.
Right, absolutely, and making minor changes to say that it is a totally different song.
Right.
So the name of this album is called Midnights. There are numerous songs that are good. I honestly have not found one that I did not like. We go from anything from Lavender Haze, which is the opening track, to Maroon, Anti-Hero, Snow on the Beach. I think I covered all these last week, so I'm not going to go through them again. However, I will say that there are already 2 music videos out for a couple of the songs, one of which was Anti-Hero. Now, supposedly Taylor Swift is directing and starring in these videos, and anybody that knows a Taylor Swift video that she's involved in the creative process with knows that it's going to be full of the proverbial Easter egg, and
Right.
it's also going to tell a hell of a story. I've watched both videos, and I tell you, if she wasn't a performer, she could write videos and direct them, produce them,
So
because
they're that good.
they are. They're a typical. I don't want to say typical. That's maybe a bad word. They're a regular what you would expect from Taylor Swift video. And if you've seen any of her stuff, it's a story. Everything is a story. Her song is a story, and each one tells that story. I'm trying to remember. Oh, the other one with the video out is called Bejeweled.
Right. Is that like the
Do
second
what?
song?
Yeah,
The
that's
second
the song. It's the 9th song on the album, but it's the second one that was
time.
released.
Gotcha.
It's called Bejeweled, and I immediately thought it was, like what you used to do your like pants and your shirts, but that's Bedazzle, isn't it?
Bedazzled.
Oh, I was close. Bejeweled, Bedazzled. I watched that video the other day. That is a play on the Cinderella story. The stepmother and 3 sisters, and there's a prince and all that fun stuff.
Right.
But the freaking amount of Easter eggs. You could watch the video probably 6 or 7 times, both videos, 6 or 7 times, and pick up something different every time. Between character names, wardrobe, remarks that are made outside of the song. There's a joke in the Bejeweled video at the beginning of it where the wicked godmother is saying that something like, the last person that was with you got over you very quick. Actually, it was pretty swift. Ha. So there's things like that, and not that cheesy. That's like the only cheesy thing, but there's different stuff. Her love for cats. 13. There's elevator buttons that are being pushed. 4 gets pushed, and then 5 gets pushed, and it's like, oh my gosh, that means that the next album that's going to come out is the 4th album that she ever put out, and then it's going to be the 5th album that she ever put out because it was 4 and 5, and then there was this color hair on that one girl. But then when she took off her bra, it was the 32C, which means that the 32 is going to be her 32nd song that she ever put out and won a Grammy. You get the picture.
It sounds like rabbit hole conspiracy theories.
It is, but the weird thing is it all comes true. See, speechless.
Is it not exhausting to deal with these Easter eggs?
Yeah, I'm not done. No, yeah. I'm sure it is because, but think as a we'll call ourselves consumers. We're consuming her video, consuming her music. We are learning about Taylor Swift and what goes on in her crazy little mind. Okay? It's exhausting looking for these things because if you want to watch the video for what it's worth, watch the video for what it's worth. If you want to listen to it for the words, watch the video, but watch it with your ears. If you want to then look at it, we're on take number 3 for actual Easter eggs, then watch and don't pay attention to anything except for what's in the background, what's in the forefront, what's being put, down on the captions and stuff like that. Did you miss something? Don't know. Better go check. Now you're on your 4th time watching it.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I just caught more things. Better watch it a 5th time just to see. So yeah, a 2-minute song, 3-minute song, you've watched 5 times. You're now 15 minutes of your life into Taylor Swift just to find Easter eggs.
Right. And she's gotten you to watch that video 4, 5, 6 times.
Right.
Genius.
It is. And she does it on every video, especially now. And like Kathy pointed out last week, the reason for all the albums was because they all come together and form a clock.
Right, you're talking about the 4 versions of this record.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, marketing genius. I said it a number of times last week, and I'm going to say it again because we've just talked about her video 5 times. So It's now 15 minutes into that video. And that's only one video.
2 weeks in a row.
Right. She's got another one. Same thing. Different Easter eggs and whatnot. So it's stupid. It's ridiculous. She's a daggone genius. Anybody that says she's not is a complete liar, and they don't want to be truthful to themselves.
Well, this one coming out is like busted some records and like Spotify records, if you call them records, but the reviews I've seen a couple like mixed reviews, but most of them seem pretty fond of it. I listened to about six tracks, and a lot of them were the same pace. But the production was what I liked because there's a lot of reverb on her voice,
Yeah.
a lot of reverb in the song itself, which is creating an atmosphere for that record. So, it's midnights. It's got this moodiness around it. Something that you would listen to late at night, reflective, something you're, like I said, reflective. It's not like hammering you in the face because you're not doing that at midnight. You're contemplating things at midnight because you're up late.
For example, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th track on the on that album is called "Midnight Rain."
Right.
That's actually one of my favorite tracks, and it's not because of the words or the song itself. It's the ambiance. It's what's going on behind the vocals.
Right. The atmosphere.
That atmosphere is just
Yep.
phenomenal on that song. And I actually told my daughter, who is my Swiftie cohort, I told her that one was my favorite song, and she's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Get yourself some good speakers. Go sit in your car. Go sit somewhere. Close your eyes and actually go listen to that song." And I think I don't know if she ever did, but I said, "Just do that, and you'll understand why." You and I, we listen to music the same way other people do, but then at the same time, it's different because we're listening for different things.
Right. I'm listening in 3 dimensions.
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of the songs that caught me and said, boom, there we go. That is crazy. So even if you haven't, listen to it. Listen to it on a good speaker, some headphones or something. And I don't know, it was really different for me.
And with this record, do you notice for a while now, no 2 records are quite the same in the way they are written, produced, presented. Uh, you know, this is a poppy record in a lot of ways, but it doesn't sound like the last 2, which were country style records, or the one before that. That it doesn't sound like Shake It Off. So,
Oh no,
that's one of the things they talk about with a lot of artists is you have to present yourself as something new every time to stay relevant. And when you don't stay relevant, of course, you disappear, you go away. Rock fans have a problem with this because they want their bands to sound. We want rock, and we want it to sound the same all the time.
Metallica, Black Album.
Right, but you have to stay relevant. Your complaint about AC/DC,
Yeah,
it sounds the same all the time, which I disagree.
sure.
Because what they works, but they're not a band that's going to change up the formula. They're not, but someone like Taylor Swift will.
Yeah.
There is no formula.
The cool thing is she is doing just exactly what you said. She's changing it up to bring you something different. And what did she do? She even marketed this.
Differently.
Now, I don't know about you, but back when we would go to record releases at record stores, there were a lot of things that would come out at midnight.
Right.
So you could go stand in line, wait for it, and boom, now you have the newest Queensryche or Iron Maiden that came out at midnight. Yeah, cool. This is exactly what she did in a time of digital releases. I don't know how many. I'd love to ask Kathy if she had heard anything, but how many record stores, even locals, were open up at midnight for people to get that album? And if they had the option, would they have been?
If you know your clientele that come into that record store, I think you would. I do know that Kathy, her distributor, sent her a bunch of Taylor Swift she did not order, and her clientele is not the type to buy Taylor Swift.
But is that going to bring in new clientele for her?
I don't know. I never got an answer to that because she had several records that she was advertising pretty heavy because it's not what she's used to selling. So she had to find people to buy those records.
Sure.
But yeah, if you know your clientele and you know who's coming through those doors, yeah, you might stay up.
Yep. That's crazy. But I'm interested to see what happens with the rest of this. There's going to be more videos released. There's going to be a lot more stuff with these songs. She's making hints at tours. I've not been following the actual news of Taylor Swift, but
according to Billboard, Midnight has earned more than 1.3 million equivalent in album units in the U.S. through the first 4 full days of release. Traditional album sales comprising more than 1 million across all available formats, which is digital album, CD, vinyl, cassette. So that vinyl sales alone, it says, have surpassed 500,000 units.
And why? Because you have to buy all 4 to get the clock.
Right. Yeah,
Genius.
You got 4 different ones to pick from, and they're all different color vinyl.
Estimates currently have Swiss latest amassing between 1.4 and 1.6 million units in its first week. If it holds, would be her biggest debut ever. Ever.
What was the build up to this? What was the anticipation? Just because it had been
Zero.
a couple of years?
Zero. There was, gosh, what did she do? It was at one of the award shows not too long ago. And it was like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm going to have a new album coming out next month. So watch for it. And everybody was like, huh? What? Rewind that.
Yeah.
And then it turned into
it's really crazy.
I think it turned into more of a social media thing after that, because now it's like she's going to talk about it on her Instagram and all that stuff and all this build up, and then, little subtle hints about things, and TikTok. A couple days before the release of the album, she released the names of all the tracks, and it was a build up on social media. So she's using technology to the best of their ability to market this to where she's going to have her biggest debut ever. That blows my mind, because Taylor's been around for quite a while. She's had some great releases, but for this to be her biggest debut ever,
right?
To me, these are not her top songs ever,
right?
And they won't be, in my listening, opinion. But people are still going to buy. I wonder how they count that. 1.4 to 1.6 million units in its first week. Do you count all 4 of those as individual purchases?
If you buy all 4 albums, yeah.
Yeah, so let's divide that by 4. Is it going to be her biggest debut ever, or is it because you had to buy 4 albums? You have to buy 4 albums to get the clock, and then you want to buy the CD because it's got cool pictures on it, but you don't have a CD player. So then you have to go and you have to buy the digital. But half hour after downloading it, she comes out with Midnight's 3 a.m., which you now have to buy. So now you've bought 5, 6, 7. You have 7 different copies of this album. Guess what? Genius.
Yeah, you just doubled her rate of sale right there.
Absolute genius.
I don't understand well, I do understand it, but the deluxe editions, the 3 a.m. edition, I think there's another one even that has other songs or something like that.
The 3 a.m. edition came out with like 3 or 4 different songs.
Right, but those deluxe releases used to be down the road a little bit.
Yep.
And, and now people are just throwing them out there. You can buy this version or get this version, or get both.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, well, just put them on the record. Why do we have to have bonus tracks, extra tracks? If they're good enough, then just throw them on the record. I mean, if they weren't good enough, then why do we hear them?
Right. Per Billboard on October 22nd, just one day after the release, the album already notched the single largest sales week for a vinyl album since Luminate began tracking such sales in 1991. As much of a fan as I am of Taylor, I call bullshit on that simply because of the 4 album thing that you have to do in order to make the clock.
Right.
I just don't. Nobody. I almost made a mistake and said nobody buys vinyl. That is a complete. I didn't mean that.
It's huge.
Nobody buys that much. Taylor Swift fans are not the ones out there buying vinyl.
Right.
Taylor Swift fans will buy vinyl if they're told that if you put all 4 of them together, it makes a clock. And here, go to my website and you can buy the little clock pieces.
Right.
That is the only reason that that's going to be the single largest sales week for any album ever since 1991.
Right.
Genius.
Because she catered to her fans. You said, hey, fans, Swifties, here's
Yeah,
a cool,
you
here's a cool,
Swifters.
here's a cool gimmick. Buy these 4 records.
And see what you get, Swifters.
And, you know, it just tells you how rabid the appeal is for the consumption of Taylor Swift product. It's only been 2020, right, for 2 records. Got 2 records in 2020.
Yeah.
That's not been that long ago. And all of a sudden, we just can't have enough. We got to have it right now, and we're going to break records.
Yeah. And when she released those 2 albums, I thought it was going to be oversaturated.
You and I remember days where bands would maybe wait 4 years because what we say before, you're touring.
Yeah.
You know, you can't dump them out 2 at a time all the time.
Yep.
So I don't know who is behind all of this with her or helping her or what collaboration her team is. I'd love to know more about it because they do good work.
I would read the book on her team.
Yeah, exactly. The making of Taylor Swift.
Yeah. That could be a movie in its own. Keep out all the boyfriends because I don't give a shit about that. I want to talk about the making of.
Yeah, she could play herself.
Yeah, exactly. Good grief. All right. You know what? There's other people that need to get fed.
Okay.
Okay. I just letting you know.
I have lasagna.
Okay. Yeah. Your wife's.
Yeah, come on over.
I'm good. I'm good. I had a bologna sandwich.
Okay.
Yeah, with mayonnaise on it.
You probably fried too.
Huh?
You probably fried the bologna too.
I didn't.
Oh, good, because I hate that.
No, I just put ketchup and mayo on it. Man. But you know who doesn't?
Me.
And Jason.
Oh, yeah, but Jason's a gourmet.
Exactly. Speaking of Jason, don't forget to go visit Jason at badcompanybbq.com. He's got all your cool little flavors and what do you call those?
Sample packets?
No, what do you call the things? The jars of seasoning. What do you call it?
Jars of seasoning.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. Go see Jason, badcompanybbq.com. Of course, Kathy at Music and More Records. Kathy was involved in the chat earlier tonight, and we really appreciate that. Shannon made a comment on yes, Shannon, thank you. Rubs. That is what I was going for. She made a comment and said if you have to buy the clock mechanism separately off of her website for $35 plus shipping and handling, which comes to about $60. Holy crap. 3 albums. I don't know how much they were a piece. 4 albums plus the $60 timepiece. Ridiculous.
$30 a piece.
I got to get off this because I'll keep going.
$30 a piece.
And how much?
$30 a piece.
The albums?
Right.
$29.99.
Right.
Really?
Really. Now, think about this. Where did you get the clock pieces?
Taylor Swift.
Off the website. What's on the merch store there? Other merch. You just drove people to your merch store.
Yeah, and you know what? If you add $55 more, you get free shipping.
Right, so buy a t-shirt.
Yeah. Genius.
Yeah, she's got all the money.
It's pissing me off. I just want two things. I want a song wrote about me. I want a couple dollars. I'd really like to just have a song wrote about me.
That would be fine.
I'd be fine. Just T-Swizzle. Hey, it's TBT. I just want a song.
He's making an impassioned plea here.
Please.